The heart is a metaphorical symbol for our connection with God. It's often used by St. Paul. It's also certainly used in some of our songs and our ways of communicating about our closeness or nearness to God. I would like to also offer you another aspect of the heart. The heart is our antenna towards God. It's meant to point us in the direction of God. You have a deeper sense that how do we understand how God's communicating with us? How God is, we say, speaking to us, or guiding us, or inviting us into a deeper relationship with God. Today's gospel is very sobering, especially for us, if I can use the phrase, religious elite. We have the privilege of daily Eucharist, the privilege to connect to local parishes. There are places on this planet where you're lucky to see a priest or someone who can preside at Eucharist or the sacraments for many months, perhaps even years. So yes, at some level, we are religious elite. But here's the danger. In our own struggles, individually and collectively, we begin to think we're pretty important. We know how this thing goes. And as a supplement, I would say, to make our faith more exciting, we create these little traditions. You know the old joke, a tradition is anything you've done more than twice. We've always done it this way, but it's in your family, parish, and culture. So today's gospel is important for people like us to remember what's most important. In our Catholic faith, we call it the proper hierarchy of values. What's most important? And Jesus is reminding us it is the law of God, the commandments of God. These aren't just the 10 commandments. These are the way that God guides God's people and has guided God's people throughout history. Human tradition is very different. Human tradition is about feeling good about ourselves. Feeling good about ourselves. So we create these little practices, these little ways of doing things, these little habits and routines, and pretty soon it becomes our tradition. And then we start sharing with family members or fellow parishioners. You say, well, this is a better way to do it. Next thing you know, and I know you've heard stories of this, some people don't go to church. Oh, I do my Mass on television. It's like, okay, are you sick? No, it's just easier. All right, that's become a tradition, you see. And so on and so forth. You can fill in the blanks. So, why is this lesson of Jesus so important for us? Because to follow the commandments of God is an invitation to live in right relationship with God, with others, and with self. That's why. Again, human tradition, there's nothing wrong with it as long as it's subjugated to following the commandments of God. Does it help you to do what the commandments are about? To live in right relationship with others? If not, Jesus very clearly says, stop doing it. It denigrates the law. It misguides you. It doesn't allow you to experience the fullness of the heartfelt spirituality of Jesus Christ. Why is this so important? Because to follow the commandments of God are about an inner transformation. That, as Jesus summarized his teaching, that we are to become love. We are to become like the Christ. And in becoming love, we then become effective witnesses of the gospel message of Jesus. But if we're so connected, so attached to our traditions, we forget about that. We forget about what's most important. We lose sense of the values of what we've all been called to. And let's face it, those of you who are married especially, you know how hard it is to love. Those who live in community, it's not easy. It's much easier if you're a hermit. You think you're holier than you really are. Until people come into your life. And then even as co-workers, colleagues. So the list gets expanded. We come back to the commandment to love as we have been loved. And anything that helps you to do that probably is a good tradition and worth keeping.